question look like? It always is going to say, which paragraph contains the following information? Or sometimes if you're doing the general exam, which section contains the following information? It doesn't matter if it's the general or the academic exam, the exact same question strategy. The exact same question strategy, right? Except for on one test, they may use section, and on the other, they'll use the words paragraph. But in terms of the requirements, the idea is really, really straightforward. They want you to locate the paragraph that has the information. So, for example, number 14 says, a comparison of the past and present transportation methods. So, you have to look and find which one of these paragraphs, which one of the paragraphs, A through H, which one of the sections has information that is comparing the past and the present transportation methods, right? Or for number 16, the relative merits of cars and public transport. Again, which paragraph is talking about that? Which paragraph is discussing the merits of cars and public transport? Now, vocabulary becomes very important because they're using words like merits. So if you don't know what that word means, it might cause you some pause and hesitation that can slow you down. So vocabulary is always really, really important. Or like number 18 that says the increasing use of motor vehicles. Which paragraph is talking about the increasing use of motor vehicles? Now, this question does require scanning, right? You must scan for the matching language from the question or for the question. However, there's a very difficult way to go about scanning, and there's an easier way or less difficult method of scanning. And I think after I explain this to you, you're going to understand maybe why you found this question to be so difficult in the past. Because I'm going to tell you how to make the scanning process much, much easier. Now, we have to always think about that we have to match language location. And this question can be difficult because the matching language can be from any sentence in a paragraph. Right? Now, topic sentences can be very, very helpful because topic sentences tell you what a paragraph is about. And very often, if you understand the controlling idea from the topic sentence or the first two sentences, it can help you know that that paragraph contains the information for that question. However, keep in mind, you can have one paragraph that has 8 sentences, and they may pull information from the 5th sentence in a paragraph. So it can be very, very challenging. But like I said, I'm going to tell you how to make it much easier. So this is a difficult question, a time-consuming question. So I'm always going to recommend that you do it last. Very often in a reading passage, let's say you're doing reading passage number 2, the paragraph location question is going to be mentioned first in the question set. You'll be mentioned first. So for example, the paragraph location question might be questions 15 to 19. And then questions 20 to 24 might be a fill-the-blank question. And then questions 25 to 29 could be a yes, no, not given question. So if you have it set up that way, do not start, even though the paragraph location question is first in the setup questions. Don't do it first. Again, don't do it first. There's a reason why. If you do it first, you're about to make it really, really difficult because the question does not go in order and you'll be spending 10 minutes just trying to scan and wasting so much time. Do the in order questions first, then go back and do the paragraph location question. Okay? Then go back and do the paragraph location question. because that's going to give you an opportunity to read through a lot of the paragraphs, and it will give you an opportunity to note if you come across any of the key words from the paragraph location question. Because first you're going to highlight the keywords in the paragraph location question. Then you're going to go do the other question types in that set. And then when you're doing the other question types, you're going to underline or highlight if you come across any of those keywords from the paragraph location question. Then when you finish the in order question types or the other question types like a matching question, then you're going to come back to the paragraph location question. It'll be much easier because you would have probably found half the answer choices already. Okay, so let's go over the strategy now more specifically in terms of the paragraph location question. As I said earlier, you want to first locate the keywords in the questions. This is very crucial to saving time. After you have highlighted or underlined the keywords in the questions, like here for numbers 1 through 6, then you go and do the other questions, do the in order questions or like the matching question in the set first. You're doing that because it's going to give you a great opportunity to look at the information in all the other paragraphs because you are doing these questions that go in order. Also, you're going to keep your eyes open for any of those words that you've highlighted, any of those keywords you've highlighted in the paragraph location question. Then you're going to return to the paragraph location question, and probably you would have already found the language that might match numbers 1, 3, 4, and 5. So 4 of them you may have already been able to do right away because you were able to note where you saw that keyword language, right? Then you're going to go ahead. Now, if you haven't found number 1 and number 6 yet, then you're going to go ahead and scan for the matching paragraphs for those questions, making sure you pay attention to topic sentences because those could be very, very helpful for you. Match the language up, and then you would have found your answer choices, okay? Let's go ahead and take a look at an example here, right? So in this example, we look at section A first. Look at section A first, okay? And within the first 2 sentences of section A, I can see that it belongs to question number 3. The climate of the earth is always changing. In the past, it has altered as a result of natural causes. Nowadays, however, the term climate change is generally used when referring to changes in our climate. Clearly, from the very first sentence, I know that this is really the match for number 3. So you can see how important, you can see how relevant it is to understand topic sentences. Look at section B. The greenhouse effect is very important when we talk about climate change as it relates to the gases which keep the earth warm. Already, we're talking about a greenhouse effect. This matches number 1, a natural phenomenon. We're talking about a natural phenomenon here, right? And I know that just from the topic sentence. Now, the topic sentences, it doesn't work like that 100% of the time, but I'm telling you, they're very, very helpful. But as I've told you in the past, sometimes they're going to design some of the questions where only a student that can get an 8 or 9 in reading will be able to do very well. And those are the ones when you might have a big paragraph of 8 or 9 sentences, and they'll pull a sentence from sentence number 6 or sentence number 5 in that big paragraph. And that one is more difficult to scan for. Now, section D. There are many institutions around the world whose sole priority is to take action against these environmental problems. A, clearly a match. Clearly a match for number 4. So really, sometimes a paragraph location question is very much like a headings question sometimes. Sometimes it's very much like a headings question. Very much like a headings question. Because you could look at numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4, and they can actually be headings for these sections, right? But as I've told you, it's not always that way. The topic sentences are very helpful, but sometimes they'll pull information from the middle of a paragraph, and you need to be aware of that. You must be aware of that. Right, and here we have another example. Section A, the probability that two right-handed people would have a left-handed child is only about 9.5%. The chance rises to 19.5% if one parent is a lefty and 26% if both parents are left-handed. So this matches what? Where they talk about how likely one-handedness is born. This is where you're going to find that information. Section B, genetic theory is also undermined by results from Peter Hepper and his team at Queen's University in Belfast, Ireland. In 2004, the psychologists used ultrasound to show that by the 15th week of pregnancy, fetuses already have a preference as to which thumb they suck. So this one is matching number 3, right? This is where you're going to find that information. And then paragraph C. But even if these correlations were true, they did not explain what actually causes left-handedness. Furthermore, specialization on either side of the body is common among animals. So this is where you're going to find the information for number 1, preference of using one side of the body in an animal species. You see the way that works? Very often, not always, very often, this question is very similar to a headings question, okay? Very similar. Now, when I get into the next lectures and I'm showing you, how to analyze this question and scan with this question from a full reading passage, we'll come across some of the ones where the information is located in the middle of a paragraph, right? And that is going to be much more of a challenge to do. Right, here's another one. Right, here's one more. And with this one, look at paragraph D. It also seems that the neurological roots of the bilingual advantage extend to brain areas more traditionally associated with sensory processing. When monolingual and bilingual adolescents listen to simple speech sounds without any intervening background noise, they show highly similar brainstem responses. Right? So this one is more difficult, right? This is more difficult. Because look, this is one where it comes in the middle. This is one where it comes in the middle, right? Because number 11, now I can guess from this paragraph that we're talking about bilingual and monolingual. Monolingual, I can get that from the paragraph. But what might mess with some people is, where does it talk about they're different? So you see, in the first 3 sentences or the first 2 sentences, they tell you that they're talking about processing. Then they tell you how monolingual and bilingual are the same. And then in the next 3rd sentence, they tell you how it's different. So that information for number 11 was pulled from the 3rd sentence. The exact information for number 11 was pulled from that 3rd sentence, really the last sentence. But from the first 2 sentences, I can tell that this is where I'm going to find information about bilingual and monolingual, right? There would have to be another paragraph that's also talking about monolingual and bilingual for me to have to really go and search specifically where they're talking about difference. Right? So I just wanted to point that out to you. Okay? All right, so coming up next, I'm going to be going ahead, moving forward, and going through a full passage application.